welcome to the last official camper video of Virtual Hume. I hope that everyone has enjoyed participating. There will actually be one more video coming out, but that is going to be the recap video featuring everybody's rec challenges. And somebody else is actually going to be in charge of that because my school starts in 2 days. So on top of creating Virtual Hume, I have also been taking math placement exams and ordering my textbooks and attending new student orientation through Zoom. So it's been kind of crazy, but this has been fun, so it's been worth it despite the busyness. Anyway, although there is not an opportunity to earn rec points in this video because it is the last one, there will be 2 announcements coming up. The first one is who won the chant masks. I will be announcing the winners during Rec Chapel, and the second one I will be announcing at the end of the video, so you're just gonna have to wait to listen to that one. As usual, we are going to be starting off with chapel today. Welcome back to chapel, everybody. Before I begin, I want to say I'm sorry if you hear any noises. My neighbor's getting construction done right now. Kind of rude of them to be getting a new roof during chapel. It's like nobody told them about Virtual Hume. But anyway, we're going to get right into this. So for those of you who memorized the Bible verse, you already know what the story is about, but for those of you who didn't, I will be reading it. It is Luke 10:26 through 37. He answered, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." "You have answered correctly," Jesus replied. "Do this and you will live." But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked of Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" In reply, Jesus said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. 'Look after him,' he said, 'and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have.' Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers?" The expert in the law replied, "The one who had mercy on him." Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." In the story, it explains that the person, the Good Samaritan, had mercy on the victim of the robbery. I feel like mercy is one of those words that is used a lot, but that not many people understand. If that's just me, then this is really embarrassing, but I hope there are some other people out there who do not understand mercy, because I looked up the definition, and it is the disposition to be compassionate. Those are a bunch of big words too, so I had to look them up each individually. We've all been out of school for a while. So basically what that means is a way of living that is always interested in being all for the people you encounter. So after the man labels the Good Samaritan as having mercy, Jesus says, "Go and do likewise." What this means is that as the church, we are called to be each other's cheerleaders. But what does that look like? Okay, let's go back to the story and see what the Good Samaritan did. Just like the priest and the Levite, the Samaritan was on their way somewhere. And just like the priest and Levite, caring for this stranger was inconvenient and against the norm. But that didn't stop the Samaritan. He still went above and beyond to help this person. I mean, he spent money on somebody he didn't know. That's like really caring for someone. I don't spend money on a lot of people, so... The question stands, how can we really care for someone in today's world? I know that we haven't been able to gather together like how we want to lately, but there's a quote in the youth room. It's painted on the wall right above the door, and it says, "This is a building, you are the church." And I think that now, more than ever, that is such a good reminder to all of us. The Samaritan was not even part of the religious group that Jesus was preaching to, and yet he was able to show the mercy and love to his neighbor in the way that Christ calls the church to do. Even though we are not together, we can still protect, love, cherish, and serve our neighbors in powerful ways. This story is primarily about this man saving another man's life. We have an opportunity like no other to do that right now. Every time we go out and interact with others, we are putting people's health at risk. At the same time, if we stay home, we are fighting to preserve the lives of those around us. Most people are giving up on quarantining at this point, and I get it, it's boring. I've been in my house since March, and we all want to hang out with friends, but we can be the church, not in a building, but as the people of God by staying home now. That is a deep and powerful way to love our neighbor and honor and preserve their life. It isn't convenient or happy or the norm, and yet we are called to be lifesavers and value those around us regardless of what the rest of the culture is doing. So being the church at home is loving our neighbor and serving God well. Just like our definition of mercy from earlier, staying home doesn't mean isolating from people. It means being all for people. We can be all for them in a life-saving way, both by being home and checking in on them from home, where we are preserving their lives and our own, and sustaining their faith and letting them know they are loved. Even more to the point, mercy is a call to be all for other people. Most of us aren't in the group that is most affected by the pandemic, but we are called to be all for our neighbor, and that means taking on their needs as our own. Our neighbors who are more at risk are all around us, and we get the privilege of being there for them by staying in place and keeping everyone safe. The church doesn't need to be a building because Jesus built it on a person, Peter. And so we as people can go and be the church as people, not physically together, but still loving those around us in a deep, powerful, life-saving way. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Every time you choose to leave your house, you are putting others at risk, period. Through the lens of loving others, evaluate every time you leave your house. Yes, I know that people work and need to go to the grocery store and the doctors and everything else, but please really be honest about with yourself about whether you are going outside as a want or a need. And please don't tell yourself that it is safe to not social distance as long as you wear a mask. Yes, wearing a mask is a necessity and we should all be doing it, but it does not make up for you choosing to go out. Wearing a mask outside should be your last resort, not your excuse to go out. Please choose to stay inside and to be there for your neighbors. That's what Jesus would want. I just tallied up the points and I know the winning team. Are we ready?
Yeah! In first place!
First place
is the team!
we
call! Wait.
What?
What does the winning team need to do?
Once I announce that your team has won, please text me at 858-774-2733 with your address by tomorrow at 5 p.m. That way I know where to send the champ masks.
Okay.
We're ready.
In first place!
First place
is the team!
we call!
Wait. What happens if they don't?
If you don't text me your address at 858-774-2733 by tomorrow at 5 p.m., your champ mask is going to the player on the losing team who earned the most points. Okay, now we're ready.
Okay. In first place!
First place
is the team!
we
call!
What?
Okay, how many points does the winning team have?
The winning team earned 57,640 points.
What?
The losing team earned 56,150, which is only the difference of 1,490 points. That might sound like a lot, but really that's the difference of 3 Bible verses.
Come on, people.
Okay, are we ready now?
Okay,
Are we sure we're ready?
I'm sure we're ready.
Okay.
Okay. In first place!
First place
is the team!
we call sanitizers! What was supposed to happen right now was, in line with the bike jump and the gauntlet, I was supposed to be playing a very disappointing round of Kajabi, which is a game that Hume and our youth group plays. The way that it's set up is you stand in a circle around a trash can with everybody else and you hold on to ropes. Then you run around the trash can, and if you let go of the rope or if you hit the trash can, you're out. So in honor of that, I brought this trash can out. However, this is actually my apology video. This is really embarrassing to talk about, and I appreciate you all for being here and supporting me through this. It has been brought to my attention that in the breakout chapels, I left out Pastor Sean by accident. So here's his video. I hope you can forgive me.
Hi everybody, my name is Sean Kelly. I'm the senior pastor at PLC. Thanks for allowing me to be part of this special project. The question before me is, what is my go-to or what is my favorite passage regarding the topic of love? And for me, it's a very simple one. I always go to 1 John chapter 4, verses 7 and 8. 1 John is a little tiny book in the back of the Bible, and it's full of really great gems. And hidden towards the end of that book in chapter 4, verses 7 and 8 in particular, describes the essence of God as love. It goes something like this. Dear friends or beloved, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who has been born knows God. He who does not love does not know God, because God is love. What makes this passage so relevant for me and so important is that first and foremost, it describes the very nature of who God is, that God's very essence is love. And it's very simple to say, but it's really complex to try to figure out what that means. I've spent most of my Christian life, which has been since primarily through my teenage years. So it's going back, we're pressing on over 35 years, oh my. But I remember since hearing that verse, just really trying to wrap my mind around what does love actually mean. We only have one word for it in English. Other languages have multiple words for it, depending on what we are actually describing. But for me, it goes back to this fundamental thing, that as love tries to get defined, we often put it through our own filters of how we see the world. But this passage always reminds me that the nature of who God is defines what love is. I don't get to pick and choose nor define what it is. So that's always a helpful reminder for me that I always need to start with God's definition of what love is, and that definition always starts with understanding the nature of who God is, the sacrificial nature, because later on in the passage it goes on to describe God's sacrifice of Jesus as the ultimate demonstration of love. And so while I tend to have different opinions than other people, and they have different opinions than I do, and sometimes I can define whether a person is loving or not based on whether their opinions line up with me, I always come back to this passage to remind me that love isn't about whether somebody shares the same opinion as I do, or they like me or I like them. Love is just the nature of who one is, and God first and foremost defines that. So for me, that's what I think of when I think of love and when I think of a special passage in the Bible. 1 John 4, 7 and 8. I hope that's helpful.
On Friday nights after dinner, the campers are finally given their phones back and are encouraged to dress nice because there's a photo op that we call Fancy Friday. So for virtual Hume, rather than just showing pictures of kids in the youth group, I wanted to take this time to feature some of the best parts of the youth group. I posted several times on PLC memes asking people to send in videos of themselves dressed in Fancy Friday clothing, talking about what they loved most about identity. And here are the responses.
Hi, my name's Vivian. I'm 15. My favorite thing about youth is the community we have. Whether I'm having a bad day, rough week, or just something's not going right, I have people who will cheer me up and just help me through it. I have made such loving connections with people through youth, and I wouldn't want that to be any other way.
Hey everyone, my name is Jamie Labidou, and I'll be attending Chico State in the spring. During my time at PLC, my favorite part about it was in the youth program, where we would get into small prayer groups. Now, this may not be the most exciting thing we've done, but I feel like it's a great way to bond with each other, and as well as make friends, and that's how I got a lot of my friends there.
My name is Fraser, and I like youth group because I pray for.
Hello, my name is Matt Cedarquist, and I will be going into freshman year of college in the fall. And one of my favorite things about youth group is just the sense of community and the relationships we build with people. I remember freshman year at Hume, I barely knew anyone, and walking onto the lawn, everyone was just hanging out, playing Smash, having a good time, and I met so many of my friends there. And yeah, I've had some really real relationships with those people over the years, and I'm really thankful for that.
Of course I loved all of youth group, but one of my favorite memories was actually the night that the PLC Memes Instagram had first come out, because everyone was running around trying to figure out who was behind the account, and I was trying super hard not to let people know that it was me. Clearly people found out because we're all here right now knowing that it's me. But this brings me to my second announcement of the video, which is I'm no longer in youth group, so I need somebody else to take over the account. If you are interested, be paying attention this weekend. I'm going to be posting more about the Instagram takeover throughout the weekend, so be looking for those posts, and good luck.